If you're new, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. Hey everyone, Derpy here, and back with another Battle Pirates Beginner's Guide episode. In this series, I'm walking you through how to catch up and be a top-level player, all with no coin, just plain smart. Today's episode is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to be telling you a few really important things and telling you to do them, but I'm not actually going to be doing them myself because I just don't have enough time to do all of this on two accounts. The end goal here is still to help people, and that's exactly what I'm going to be trying to do. As I record this, it is 1 week before the second raid in the cycle, and in this example that I'm using here, it happens to be the April raid. If you're watching this 2 months from now, 2 years from now, the content should still be adequate, and you should still be able to use the knowledge. The end goal, and the thing that I want every person to be able to possibly do in this game, is to Your goal should be to go into the second raid of the cycle with 2 weeks of Forsaken Mission tokens saved and a fully built fleet that you're going to use in that raid. There's a few things there, let's break it down. The first one is knowing when the second raid in the cycle is. This one is a little bit tricky. You're going to have to check on forums, ask on Battle Pirates chat, Discord, whatever else. But just know that the second raid in the cycle is, well, the second one. So you use Reclaimers for one raid, then the next raid. You're worried about that second one. It happens to be the raid where you're getting the next newest, better ship. In this game, you should never build anything old. So, for example, we got the Reclaimers in the February raid, and that was the second raid in the previous ship cycle. Reclaimers were then used for 2 raids the month after February, which is March, and then April. That's the second raid they're used in. So, okay, now we know it's the second raid in the cycle. The prize is going to be the Ravager, the Tier 10 Assault Hull, the next thing after the Reclaimer. And again, stop building Reclaimers once you have the Ravager. The next part is you have to use 2 weeks of Forsaken Mission tokens and save those. Seems a bit complicated. How do you save 2 weeks worth of tokens when you can only redeem 1 week and things don't work out? Well, last week I'd mentioned the same thing, and I'd opened those tokens and saved them in token form. These are from the previous week's Forsaken Mission cycle, 2 one-day ship build tokens and 2 two-day ship build tokens. Those are just in token form. This week's that I just got a day or two ago are in chest form. The legendary has usually 2+1, sometimes 2+2. If you get very lucky, 2+7. And then the elite just has a normal 2x2. And then, of course, there's also tokens in prize pool 1, at least that's where it is right now, a one-day build token. You do have to spend this from the previous week to get this again, but by and large, you should save 2 weeks worth of tokens. Roughly 6 days of each are granted to you for each week. A little bit less, a little bit more, depending on how lucky you get. Save 2 weeks worth of tokens. This is exactly because you're going to be able to need to build the Tier 10 Ravager fleet as soon as possible. And that's done by building 4 blanks with these tokens and getting the ship on day 1 of the raid, which I will walk you through a little bit more in detail in the next episode. But save 2 weeks worth of tokens so you can use them on the Ravager. It's really important. I'm saying it multiple times. Do not finish your Reclaimer fleet if it's close or not. Save the tokens, they're incredibly important. The next aspect I talked about is a U0 Reclaimer fleet, a U0 fleet of whatever the current one in the cycle is. This is one that I've slowly been building out over the previous few weeks, doing a few different things, getting the blueprint in Pillage, which was about 5 or 6 weeks ago, building out the fleet over 5 weeks. This is the build I happen to be using. Notice it's not the best tech if you're familiar with Reclaimers at all. These weapons right here are the regular ones, not the best ones, not the limited ones. They do slightly less damage. The engine I'm using is old. I'm not doing the best exact build out there. And of course, the ship is still U0. So the goal is to build up as many of these things as you possibly can, and that's what you're going for. Notice that these ships actually don't have armor on them either because I simply ran out of time. Maybe if I had tried to do things a little bit better and manage my time, I would end up having armor on these things, but I don't, which is whatever. And then I do actually have that 5th ship still upgrading, or building actually, going in the shipyard, and that's going towards the same build design. If I could put on armor, I would use the current one if I had it, which I actually don't. So I don't have the tier 10 siege armors. I have the tier 9 ones I can use instead, which will work out okay. Just going to throw those on there. I got those from scrapping my Punisher Mark IIs, which was also useful to get the radioactive battery. Okay, so that's building the ship at U0. But there's one more important facet to building the ship. That is the raid-specific, hull-specific time-limited campaign. This one is shown right here. It is Siegebreaker. You get Reclaimer VXP tokens, which are useful because my ships are not fully ranked up. VXP can make you shoot 4 times more quickly at a fully ranked ship than an unranked ship, and you would certainly want your ships to be better. In this TLC, you get various different upgrade kits, which are useful for upgrading your ships to U1, U2, U3, X1, although you're probably not going to be able to get there, maybe a few ships at U1. It also gives you 8 days of build tokens, which would be great, and I can use, or could use rather, to put armor on my ships, which is fantastic. 2 days per normal one, they could all put some armor on there at least. Of course, more VXP tokens, and a special here, which is nice. This could replace the one I'm using on my ship right now of the Agility System 4. It should be replaced with this one. This is a much better special, or that wouldn't replace Agility System 4, replace something else. And a better engine too. Lots of things you can get, and the really important part is this Mastery Prize Pack. It gives you a 1-day upgrade token every time you do it, a 1-day build token every time you do it, for 5 days of upgrade tokens in total, and 8 days of build tokens in total. This fleet can be completed with the previous siege, so instead of tier 10, it's tier 9.5 because things go in 0.5s in this game for PvE, and you can complete it with that fleet, which you can get from the Forsaken Mission Prize Pool 1. And that's a really important thing to do. Get these free fleets from Prize Pool 1, use the Gladius fleet, which is here, and the main Gladius, to go ahead and get the Reclaimer. Or if you have another way of doing that, that's great, and focus on that one. And that will get you enough tokens to get the ships fully ranked up through VXP, more armors on, and maybe all the ships even upgraded to U1. Not really going to look at U2, but you should be able to get your fleet done much higher than it is right now. Now, I do need to mention, I'm not doing this TLC myself because I simply do not have the time to do that and pillage on 2 accounts all at once. So this is a little bit more of a do as I say, not as I do. Do the TLC, it is incredibly important. If you wish to have the fleet, do the TLC. And it's going to be tough because most people who do, walkthroughs of this or whatever, do usually have U3 X1 Gladius fleets. You're doing it with the U01, which is roughly going to take double the damage. It will be tough, but you can complete it. Alright, now let's go ahead and talk about pillage. It's the week before the raid. Every single time, that means it is pillage. Now, pillage has several different things in it. A lot of the stuff is PvP, the exterminator, which I'm not focusing on whatsoever. The important things for you are not actually the siege tech. If you wanted, you could pick up, the Reclaimer flagship. It would be incredibly late with 1 week before the raid. Limited weapons, which is not useful. Limited engines, which you can get from that TLC anyway. I'm not going to bother spending my points on old things. Instead, I'm going to get what's going to be new and what's going to be relevant. In this case, that looks like the tier 10 assault stuff. You always get 5 limited specials and 10 limited weapons, the pillage before the whole actually comes out. If you can have the points and if you can get them, great, get these, will allow your assault ship to be better. Don't concentrate on making the current things good. Concentrate on making the future things the best they possibly can be. And this will take you roughly 350, 400,000 points to actually get all of these things, which you can use through using your Everest fleet, which you already have built up, as well as the free Photon fleet that was actually in Prize Pool 1 of the Forsaken Mission. You will notice that I have not really done anything. I've hit 2 targets, because I simply don't have the time to do this on my main account on this one as well, but you should focus on grinding out this using the free fleet from Prize Pool 1 of the Forsaken Mission, which is, in Prize Pool 1 of the Forsaken Mission, and you should probably be driving those ones. The Everest fleet you have, it might be okay to auto. It will be tough, it will be hard to get points, but it is possible, which is something that is relatively new in this game right here. So that's using your Everest fleet right here to hit the 138s, and, photons for the 145s. If you're watching this from 2 months from now, it won't be the photons, it will be whatever was the generation after photons, which I think was actually Skirmish, the Ronins. I could be mistaken on that one. It's going to change, but the pillage before the second raid in every cycle will have the fleet you need in pillage. The last thing I want to mention here for the future fleet is armors. These you get limited armors through prize pool 5 of the Forsaken mission. The tier 10 siege armors for the whole that's not even released yet. You should get these because they help out and they're the best things to use. I've been spending all my points from the Forsaken mission just actually autoing things on this account and I have 12 of each armor right now. I have 0 of the tier 10 siege armors because I'm concentrating on the future and not on the current. It's a bit weird to do, a bit weird to think about, but you want to get what will be useful in the future, not what's useful right now. It's a very strange thing, which is the entire point of these sorts of videos and these sorts of guides. Get what's useful for the future. The last thing I do want to mention here is that I do have a second Reclaimer fleet fully built, fully upgraded. None of those things are true. It's fully ranked, U0. This is because Kixeye occasionally gives out free fleets. This one was for their, quote, 10-year celebration. The build here is better than the one that I have on my own, although its weapons aren't the best. It only has 2 armors, and that's been done so it could fit in a level 16 dock. This means that every player right now in the game watching this video sort of didn't really have a reason to build this Reclaimer fleet, and instead, there was a free one that you're going to get. This happens, 2-3 times a year, and this fleet will also be useful in the raid. I was still showing you the process of walking through and building this Reclaimer fleet. If you've been watching this and you're wondering, hold on, how does he have an entire second fleet here? That's how it was given for free. And, I couldn't do anything about it. I didn't have any ask for it, and it was given to every player in the game. So it will be even easier for, say, someone on this account to do the raid and get some things here. And that's where that's coming from. If you are watching this right now in the game, the best thing for you to do, you can actually take this free fleet they gave you through the TLC. You'll get roughly 7 hours damage for the entire prize pack, and you can get 8 days of build tokens, 5 days of upgrade tokens, and get this thing, better armored, remove one of these missile defense system 3s, put on another weapon, and that will make you a lot stronger, and you get most ships here up to U1, maybe 1 or 2 up to U2, and that will help you out immensely in the raid. Just remember to save 2 weeks worth of Forsaken Mission tokens. Okay, a brief recap on what we talked about in case you just wanted to skip to this point. Number 1, you want to focus on having a fully built fleet, saving 2 weeks of Forsaken Mission tokens, and getting all the stuff you can in Pillage and the Forsaken Mission for the next fleet. So we talked about how to save 2 weeks worth of tokens for the Forsaken Mission, 1 week in token form, 1 week in chest form. We talked about how you should be continuing to build your ship here, and it's okay if it's not fully armored, if your fleet isn't fully done. It's better to have your tokens saved in a half-ass fleet than a fully done fleet but no way to build the next one. You should always focus on the future, not the present, which is weird, but it's why I'm making those videos. Of course, doing the TLC for the ship, and it actually depends what week this is ran in, is incredibly important. You get 8 days of build tokens, 5 days of upgrade tokens. Use those as wisely as you can, as well as the limited tech you do get. It helps out a ton in reducing your damage here, and refitting to these better specials is a great option. You should also focus on Pillage, which is happening the week before the raid every single month. In this case, you should get the limited tier 10 assault stuff. Don't focus on the current things. Get the things that will be useful in the future. It's a lot of points, but it is important. This scattergun is probably going to be about 20% better than the regular unlimited one, and the engine is slightly better than the regular unlimited one, or the older one from the previous tier. Then the last thing here is that you do want to make sure you are focused on the Forsaken Mission. Don't get the siege armors for the current ship if you can't afford those. Focus on the assault armors for the future one. If you have extra points, then you can get a few ones for the current ship, but focus on the things for the future. you want to make sure you're going into the second raid of the cycle with a fully built, not fully upgraded fleet of whatever is useful in that raid, as well as 2 weeks of Forsaken mission tokens saved. In the next episode, I'm going to probably be showing you what I'm doing in terms of getting the tier 10 assault hull on day 1 of the raid, if at all possible, and how you can build blanks of that one, and maybe even talking a little bit about how to rank it up. This video has been a ton of me talking to you, not a ton of me hitting targets and showing you things. Other people have videos. I'm sure I have videos on a few of these different TLCs with different fleets and different ships. Make sure you're doing those. And, if you have questions about what I've talked about, go ahead and leave a comment below. I'll answer or someone else will answer. And this is allowing you to get caught up in Battle Pirates PvE. It's hard. It's doable. I mean, it's possible. I'm showing you how to do this thing. It is taking, 7 different episodes of 10, 15 minutes each, but it is possible to do. All right, well, thank you so much to everyone who supports the channel. And if you have any questions about Battle Pirates in general, I'm happy to answer those. And as always, this is Derpy signing out, helping you be a better pirate.